Good evening, Melrosians the world over. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Tom Shampoo.
And I'm Jen LeClaire.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose. Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose, and there's lots to talk about. We are rested and refreshed from a long summer vacation.
We're back
in person tonight, so Sam is unavoidably detained by other obligations, but the three of us are here for that.
Yes, and it's been a while. I feel like it's been many, many weeks for me personally. Busy summer season. I hope everybody's been enjoying the summer. Tom, you sound like you're recovering.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden it's after Labor Day. I can't believe it came so quickly, but here we are.
Right.
Back to school.
Yeah. The post Labor Day traffic is definitely back. I drove.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was like, oh, here's everybody.
And of our collective 7 children, only one is in the high school these days.
Yes. My daughter is a senior.
Yeah.
My daughter's a senior, so it's gonna be a busy year. Actually, I have senior in college and senior.
See,
so
that's right.
Go out party at the Martin's house this spring.
Big year.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the host banter. The show doc is being amended as
we speak. Live and in person.
Also, welcome back to the real world, Tom Catalini. You were sick, so I feel like you owe the world and Melrosians a PSA about as we get into fall and winter colds and all this, about the resurgence of COVID and COVID safety. How you feeling?
You're starting to hear about it on the news, and you're hearing about it in different circles of friends. And so I was totally caught by surprise. We were on our last long weekend vacation of the summer. I wasn't feeling well. We drove. We actually didn't think much about it. We drove up to Maine. I was feeling kind of tired from a long day in the drive. Didn't sleep that well that night. Got up the next day, still not feeling great. Folks went off to do some activities. I was like, I'm just going to chill out here. And I got worse. Ended up doing a COVID test, COVID, down hard for 4 or 5 days. Could really only go back to work for half days the first few days, and still not feeling 100%. And it's like 2.5 weeks later. So wow. I'm no doctor, but, maybe there's some new strain that seems to be different. We don't have the same numbers and tracking we used to, but I'm definitely hearing about it a lot more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hearing about it. I'm starting to hear more about it too.
Yeah.
And other people I've talked to have had it recently. It's hitting harder than they expected.
And at what point does the 2.5 weeks, when does it become long COVID? Because that's the term you hear a lot about as well, right?
I have no idea. I think that term might mean an extended period.
I don't know if it's many months or something.
Can have symptoms for months or years.
Yeah.
So, again, not a doctor, but I don't recommend it. As I would not poo-poo any precautions that are spinning up, and I think you're probably going to see that happening more and more. So better safe than sorry. However, if there is a silver lining to be had, I was in a state where I was at times pretty wiped out, but also not able to sleep all day. So I did a lot of streaming. And I have my top 3 COVID or non-COVID streaming recommendations. If you like.
Let's hear it. Yeah, please share.
Oh my God, what a helpful
the people
PSA.
are waiting. That's why they tune in. That's why they tune in, Tom.
You said PSA. So number 1, Top Gun Maverick.
Good.
5 stars. So I didn't see it. I had watched the original Top Gun as a ramp up to it coming out, and then it was, I don't know, confusing to me. It was only in theaters, so I didn't know how to do it. Now that it's on streaming, very easy to do, very worthwhile. That was a good one. Second one, and this may surprise some people, but thoroughly entertaining, particularly in a state of of streaming, is Cocaine Bear.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my
really?
God.
Totally watchable, totally entertaining. I mean, they pulled it off. It's hard to thread that needle. I don't know who the woman is who directed and produced it, but she did a great job. I forget, name escapes me at the moment, but I was like, that's not an easy one to pull off. And it's worth a watch. I would totally recommend.
Okay.
I
And
want
then,
to just give Linda Granfield the
Oh,
see that there. They have a new stream up there in
yeah.
town. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
already hope your son as well. So listen,
Yeah, I hope he's feeling better.
Yeah.
Linda, take notes for your son.
Yeah.
As you get deeper, and once you've streamed a lot of documentaries and a few other things, I landed on 90 Day Fiance UK.
Oh my God.
People
Wait, what?
are in
I didn't even hear
long
you.
distance relationships.
Wait, say it again, because Jen needs to hear this. 90
Day Fiance UK. It's kind of an unstructured long distance dating saga.
reality show, right? It's a reality show.
People have met online. Some have never met in person. Some have, but they are separated by vast distances. But everybody in UK speaks with a British accent, so it's very watchable.
So I hear. So I'm gonna take this conversation all the way back to the beginning of your explanation of all this, and just revisit something for just a tiny moment. That this is the effects of COVID on everybody.
Right.
You said out loud to everybody that the movies, it was only showing in the movie house, and that's confusing. Like, it's confusing. I can't get into the movies, So I wait till it's streaming, and then it's easy. So apparently, the movies are confusing now.
We did make it out for Barbie.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I still haven't seen it. But can I give a shout out for another screening that happened right here in Melrose?
Thank you for that.
I appreciate. Thank you, Tom Catalini, for those recommendations. I have not yet had COVID, so I'm nervous about this one because I feel like it's coming for me. So I might be like hunkering down a bit more than normal this fall.
So again, for non-information news or innuendo or whatever it is, I feel like I heard somewhere or watched on the real news that there might be another what do you call the injection you get? Vaccine. This fall. So hopefully that could come out and folks can get ahead of it and not have to deal with it. Hopefully this doesn't keep going around.
Right.
All right.
So I want to just give, thank you. I just want to give a shout out. Speaking of screenings and things to watch, I want to give a shout out. This past Thursday, our kindness warriors, our founding kindness warriors, Mary Beth Darwin and Stephanie Nelson from Melrose Kind, hosted at the middle school auditorium a screening of Come From Away, which is the story of all the airplanes that got grounded in Gander during 9/11, and there's the overwhelming kindness of the community, because the size of the community pretty much doubled. It's a town of 9,000 suddenly had 6,700 people staying with them for 5 or more days. Go Newfoundland. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Just talking about COVID makes me feel like I'm sick. Yeah, and they also had a special guest. I'm gonna not say his last name right, but Kevin T. They call him Kevin Turf. He was one of the passengers that was stranded and grounded, and he wrote a book. He wrote a memoir about the overwhelming kindness that he received there, and that he experienced there during this horrific tragedy. And then it was turned into believe it or not, a Broadway musical. And I had never seen it. I was like, how can you make a Broadway musical like this? But it was really phenomenal. It was such a moving event, to be able to ask questions, have the audience ask questions of Kevin live afterwards, and to talk about, and he talked about how he could imagine this level of kindness and hospitality happening in a place like Melrose, and he was impressed with the work of Melrose Kind and some of the other initiatives that happen in Melrose. And so it just was a remarkable evening. And again, shout out to Melrose Kind. Those ladies make magic happen in this community. It was really fantastic. So that's my plug for those guys.
I was on my way to go and something came up. I was not able to attend. My wife did go and sat.
Yeah, I sat right next to her.
Yeah. But I heard it's just a fantastic.
Oh my God, I laughed, I cried.
But so yeah, a lot of emotions there. So So I'm sorry to miss it.
Yeah. So recommend. It's coming back to Boston. The stage version. So it's the end of May, first couple of days in June. So
Before we get to the news, quickly, if you can, if I may, I have one quick shout out because I was really impressed. I play on the Melrose Soccer League, the old man soccer league, and we had a soccer game Sunday morning on the new Fred Green Field, which is really impressive. They spent about a month putting it together. I guess it was closed for 4, 5, 6 weeks back in the summertime. But anyway, so new field, I loved it. It's bright, colorful, and safe. So anyway, good for everybody.
Great. What do the geese think of it?
The geese are not on the turf; they're on the grass across the street.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is the football field, the football stadium. Sorry, Jen, sports ball.
Sports ball.
I should know better than to bring sports ball to the table.
So the geese know not to poop on the new turf.
Well, they just don't go there because it's not grass. There's no food there, so they stay where the food is.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, anyway. All right. That's
all right. Anyway.
Now we can move
all right,
on.
We got to get into news. There's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
All right.
All right, guys.
I hear there's an election coming up.
There is an election. So 2 more weeks. 2 weeks from today, there will be the preliminary election in Melrose. So make your plans to vote. The preliminary election is September 19th. We have 3 candidates, 3 women candidates running for Melrose mayor, Sam Hammer, Jen Grigoritis, and Monica Medeiros Solano. So the preliminary election is September 19th. 2 of those folks are going to go on to the final election in November. Do one of you guys know how to throw this election page link up? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
After 185 episodes. So early voting begins September 6th. You can vote in person and in the elections office in City Hall on the first floor.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, you can start voting tomorrow. I'm getting it done. So
here's the election link now to learn more.
Yep, I'm going right away. I'm going tomorrow morning. September 6th, tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 1 in City Hall. Friday the 8th, 1 p.m. to 5. And Tuesday the 12th, 1 p.m. to 5. Registered voters can also cast ballots by mail or in person on election day.
Right. So we should clarify, because I'm not 100% sure I know the answer. Are all elections still at the middle school only, or are they back to the precincts? Do we know the answer?
Oh, that's a good question. The early voting, I think, is in City Hall.
Yeah, early voting is City Hall, but then citywide elections are still consolidated at the one location. Yeah.
At City Hall, the early voting is at the aldermanic chambers, I believe, right? So they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, or in the elections office. Anyway, first floor City Hall, you'll find it. Follow the people. Follow the people. So if you still are trying to get to know the mayoral candidates, I know that all of them are still hosting events and meet and greets and house parties. So go to their websites, reach out, find out, make sure you've gotten a chance to meet them and ask questions. I will say, if you've been following arts and culture and creative economic development in Melrose, another chance to meet them if you're keen on learning about their take on that particular topic. The Melrose Creative Alliance, a subcommittee, I would say, of the Melrose Creative Alliance, is hosting a mayoral forum on arts and culture. All 3 mayoral candidates have confirmed they will be in attendance and will be answering questions on arts, culture, and the creative economy. It's 6:30 p.m. on Thursday in person at the Melrose UU Church. It will also be streamed by our friends at MMTV. So the UU Church is on West Emerson, across from the current library construction.
Has there been any other forum where all 3 candidates were at?
Yeah, the Melrose Racial Justice Community Coalition hosted a forum. Yeah, that one was by Zoom. That one was very good. There was
another one with only 2 of the candidates, the Democrats.
Melrose Dems hosted Jen and Sam, and then I believe there's an education. Education association one coming or has happened. I'm not sure.
So this is not the last one. The one's coming up Thursday.
Is what?
Is not the last one of the 3 of them getting together.
I don't know. Okay, I should know this.
Well, the key takeaway, I think, for everybody is to please vote. So read what you have to read to get caught up, but really get out there and vote on September 19th, 2 weeks from today.
Which is also Talk Like a Pirate Day. Don't forget.
Right. So you can vote. You can vote like a pirate if you
Vote like a pirate.
Yeah.
Pirate.
Right. Right.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I can. I did not attend this meeting, nor have I seen it. So if you know more than me, Tom and Jen, let me know. But I'm just reading off the card here that we had the City Council Appropriations and Oversight Committee meeting. That was, it looks like August 31st. This is to vote for a request of the debt exclusion question for public safety buildings to be placed on the November 7th ballot here in Melrose, the election ballot. So again, this was the discussion to decide how many buildings to fund, 3 public safety buildings or 4. All 4 would be 3 fire stations and the police station.
Mm-hmm.
And so they voted to fund all 4 buildings. So that's going to go on the ballot, it sounds like, in November.
Well, they're voting to include the full proposal of the 4
Right.
buildings.
Thank you.
They're not voting to fund it. They're voting to include that on the,
As a proposal.
Well, which is coming up actually tonight on the City Council, and then once it has to also be approved by the mayor and reviewed by the city solicitor, and then the final question will get on the ballot in November.
Right. So lots happening there as well.
Yeah. So the update is from, we pulled this update from Eugenia Gibbons, who's on the Public Safety Building Committee.
Yes, thank you, Eugenia.
Yeah. So we pulled this update directly from her. But we've done this before, but I just want to give a shout out to that committee. They've worked really hard and really thoroughly, and I'm personally glad to see that their full recommendation is going forward for this vote. Because this is a committee of really dedicated, again, volunteers that included our public safety first responders, and a really thoughtful and smart committee who put these recommendations together. And the recommendations are, it's not just a wish list. It's not just, wouldn't it be great if we had this, that, and the other thing on all the fire stations? They also took into account what we would be able to do here in Melrose, and like what would be, how it would be financed and how we would be able to fund this. These are not pie in the sky wish list recommendations. So it's a really thoughtful proposal. I know they put a lot of work into it. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that it's going forward as intended and as recommended. I think that's really important. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. There's a lot of news still coming up, right?
Oh yeah.
There's some road work underway. Back on the roads after Labor Day. There's some improvements happening here around Melrose. And so we have a West Emerson and Vinton Street intersection. They're creating a 4-way stop. Now let me think about where that is. Vinton and West Emerson. By the farmers market.
Beautiful yellow house. Exactly. Over by the farmers market.
So they're creating a 4-way stop and a realignment of the curb ramps and crosswalks. There is a bit of a little 5th way, because that road coming up Vinton, coming north, splits into a V, so you can go straight across.
Right.
Or you can take the right toward the farmers market, toward Garnis Market, and all that area.
Yeah.
So they're realigning, it looks like, that whole intersection and 4-way stops. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either, but it's a funky turn. So if you're coming down West Emerson with the farmers market on your left, you make a left into like what looks like a right turn only lane, but it's actually a little yellow line. So there's room for improvement there, but I didn't realize it was going to be a 4-way stop. So then right down the street, they just changed that weird 3-way stop to a 4-way.
Right by the Boho Cafe and all that.
Yeah, which seems to make it just easier to understand. So
I don't know why we don't have a rotary there. That could be a rotary. Just saying, throwing it out there.
Let's put that on the ballot.
You know what? You should. Now that I know about this, we can post on the community page. They love to talk about it.
They love talking about these
really
topics.
Stir up trouble.
Yeah, a lot of people weighing in.
Wouldn't it be great if there's a rotary over there? We can say that the people on the west side are jealous of the east side rotary, and we want one over here.
Yeah. What is next? Let's see.
That'll go over well.
Yeah.
What is there? Oh, I can do this one if you want.
Okay.
So grant applications, the grant process is now open. The Melrose Cultural Council is accepting grant proposals for your creative projects and ideas up through October 17th. So these will be for projects and ideas for events that would be happening in 2024. So you have to apply now for your event or project for 2024. Remember that you do not need to be a registered nonprofit to apply. Again, the Melrose Cultural Council funds are funds from the state level Massachusetts Cultural Council. Each town or city or municipality gets a percentage based on population and some other factors. And then there are local cultural councils. So for us, the Melrose Cultural Council decides how to distribute those funds within their own communities. And if you remember back a couple months ago, they do a survey where they ask the community kind of what their priorities are, and they do take those into consideration. So there's information about the application process, about eligibility, and what they've decided based on your feedback, again, are the local priorities at melroseculture.org. So you can
pop that right in there.
Yeah.
Right in there.
And then there's also, so again, the Melrose Creative Alliance has 2 events this September. The team has been very busy. So the other event they're doing is related to this. It's called Creative Connect, learn about funding opportunities in Melrose. And so they're going to be introducing people not only to the Cultural Council grant process, but also the Messina Fund and they'll have representatives from the local banks and their sort of charitable giving arms, the Rotary Club. Whether or not there's reps there, they will have information from Foundation Trust. So the whole event is designed for creative professionals and people with creative ideas to go and learn about how to get your projects funded and what, who the reps are, what their deadlines are, what the requirements look like, and how to submit a good quality application. So we're really proud of that work. It's one of the priorities for kind of artist professional development that we're trying to do in Melrose. So
wow, that's great.
That's great.
The mayor is inviting the community to come on out and to attend a ceremony that will commemorate the anniversary of September 11th, which comes up on Monday, Monday. And that is 22 years. I can't believe I'm saying it's 22 years, but 22 years since the terrorist attacks in New York and in Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. So this will be at 9:00 in the morning, outdoors at the Essex Street entrance to City Hall, and the ceremony will begin with a moment of silence at exactly 9:03. That is the time that the second plane hit the South Tower at the World Trade Center in New York. So again, if you are interested in being a part of the anniversary commemoration, then that's at 9:00 on the 11th, September 11th.
Do you remember where you were?
I do. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was working in Boston, and it was just so 22 years ago. The way that information flowed was totally different.
Yeah, right.
So, you got little bits and pieces, and news was coming into the office right at the beginning of the day, and then it got more serious, and eventually offices started shutting down for the day, and you heard things like one of the planes left from Boston.
Yeah.
I just remember it was this beautiful sunny day.
Yeah.
So it's, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Shortly, it wasn't too long by the time they, most businesses decided to shut down. And there were just thousands of people walking the streets of Boston, getting onto the T. I remember I walked from the financial district over to like North Station because I didn't really want to be underground and know what was going on.
Right.
I literally stopped off at a Radio Shack, which was still in business of the day, and bought a radio so you could get
listen to the news, right?
On the T. And in my car in the T, I had the radio, and a bunch of us were just sort of silently listening to the news on the ride back. And again, it was like this totally disturbing situation on this bright, beautiful, sunny day. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy for sure. Well, and it's also just amazing. It's been 22 years, but always important to remember those that we lost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tomcat, you want to do this one?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
City of Melrose Recreation Department offers mindfulness and meditation classes this fall. See what I did there?
I do.
Give me a minute. He was taking a minute to be.
Deep breath.
So this is good. This is a legit thing, and it is a great practice. I have done this myself, and so it's great that they're teaching some classes based on this for stress reduction this fall. Tuesdays, starting on September 19th to November 4th this year. So guided yoga and meditation practices, self-reflection exercises, group discussion, home practices, and optional guided half-day silent retreat. It stops there. It doesn't talk about psilocybin microdosing, but that must be maybe
That'll
that's
be
maybe
offered
that's the
later.
spring session,
That's the advanced class.
the advanced class.
Yeah, we'll have to ask. So this is a lot of this is I believe the being encouraged by Frank Olivieri, the director of Parks and Rec. He himself is a mindfulness practitioner, and it shows. Super cool guy. Shout out to him and his department.
Yeah.
He's partnered with the mayor's office and the health department to make these things happen. But Parks and Rec has really been, it's been the couple of years of health and wellness, according to Mayor Broder, and so Parks and Rec and other city departments have been really pushing these kinds of activities. This piece of it, can I talk about the pricing? This piece of it,
Yeah.
I love. This is also pretty cool, and it'd be interesting to see other organizations adopt something like this. So classes are offered starting at $250 for all 8 weeks. Participants are invited to pay what they can, ranging from $150 to $350, which is the actual class value. So folks that pay the $350 are considered sponsors that then allow other folks to pay a little bit less, pay the $150, so that it all evens out. So you can be mindful and help a neighbor to also be mindful too. I love that model. That's very
great.
cool.
Yeah. I'm a fan of this too. I do try to take some time each week to spend some meditative moments in my day to just to do that sort of recentering or stress reduction. I find it to be really helpful. It's just breathing and in quiet time. It's nice.
What I'm hearing from that, Tom Shampoo, is that you're going to sponsor me and that you're going to pay the $350 so that
I would love to sponsor you, Jen. Let's go do this.
I don't know. That was my takeaway from that. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but.
And then after we do that, we can go see Barbie, because you and I haven't seen Barbie yet.
I know.
Everyone else has.
I know. That's true. Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good. So you can also do this for free. Not the same thing. You won't get the same level of experience, but there's also a virtual group that meets Monday from 8 p.m. to 8:30, and an in-person group that meets Thursdays at the Milano Center for weekly meditation sitting groups. So that's kind of cool.
Awesome. So the other thing they're continuing, and I think this is through the health department, is the free mental health first aid training program. So some of us did this last year. It's a very excellent program. I forget how many sessions it was, but it's very robust. A lot of content, a lot of material, a lot of good discussion, and you end up learning a lot about mental health first aid. Everything from, so you're not trained to be any kind of physician or expert, but to be a helpful friend and to recognize some signs and symptoms, and to be educated on sort of a pretty wide range of services that are available and how to easily access them. So it is totally worth doing. Would highly recommend that. I forget where the money comes from for that, but that's like a legit course that the city is definitely spending some money on. Like I said, there's a lot of materials and a lot of organization to it.
That's the course that the three of you took last year, right?
Yes.
Yes. Three LTMM, three of the four LTMM hosts are certified first aid mental first aid responders.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to look into this.
You should check that. It was. I agree. It was a great course.
Yeah, that's totally worth doing.
So you did. So Sam and I did the one for youth. So it's how to respond to youth and teens. Did you do the one for adults or kids?
Adults.
Adults. And now they're offering one. I thought this was really interesting. what to look out for in older adults too. So that's kind of cool.
Oh.
Because it makes sense. Like the symptoms and the way issues may manifest themselves in symptoms for youth and teens versus adults versus older adults. I imagine there's similarities, but I imagine there's also differences. So I think that's interesting that they break it out like that. And especially if you have, like, if you work with kids or if you work with seniors or you have seniors in your life, like, it makes sense that you can go and take a class kind of that's suited to various populations that you might be working with, either in your work or in your life. I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we have another arts and culture, so I would gladly hand it over to you, Jen, if you want.
Oh, you I feel like I've gabbed on a lot of this show.
Yeah.
Check out the Creative Alliance website if you want to see all of it. But a quick snapshot is there always. I'm finding it hard to keep up with both Molly's Bookstore and The Kitchen. They are doing so much cool programming. They have stuff every day. So I would recommend you just go directly to their websites, or their social media, Molly's Bookstore and The Kitchen in Melrose. Another organization that has almost daily or weekly events is Paper and Clay over on Emerson, and Yara Chocolates, who no longer have their great store, no longer has a storefront over there, but they've partnered with Paper and Clay because they have that pop-up space. So Yara Chocolates is doing a bunch of really cool classes and events in partnership with them. Fall registration is also open at Follow Your Art Community Studios. You can check out, there's new season information for our Melrose Symphony that's been posted. Of course, the Memorial Hall Gala is coming up. There's currently a new visual arts show called Coffee Shop Artists that's now on view at the Beebe Estate for this month, for the month of September. And then this coming Saturday, there's an art gallery show at the UU Church called Artists, Makers, Bakers, Performers, and All. It's like an really inclusive community participatory art show that they're putting on for their members in the community. And then, of course, last but not least, the Victorian Fair is this Sunday, where everyone in Melrose will be.
What's the time?
Celebrating the Victorian tradition of eating pizza in the street and buying plastic tchotchkes.
Right. Do we have the time of the Victorian Fair?
It's 11 to 4.
11 to 4.
Yes, I'll wear my parasol while I'm buying my plastic tchotchkes.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing before we wrap. I just wanted to shout out. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the different Facebook communities around Melrose. Oh, by the way, I saw Scott McCauley today over at the City Yard, and he wanted to hear how everybody on the show was doing and how Tom's doing on the Historical Commission and everybody's adventures. And I was mentioning to him that Jane Egan is putting a lot of his stuff on the Old Time Melrose Facebook, speaking of different Facebook communities.
Yeah.
And so he was getting a kick out of that. So our biggest fan, who still doesn't have a TV or an internet connection
or an email account,
is still keeping tabs on us, and he's doing great. So it was great to see Scott. But the other Facebook group I wanted to mention, this was in the community page. So we were talking about West Foster Street, and West Foster in Berwick, there are some tables there and people hang out, and that's where you'll see like the guy carving different things. His name is Jim. I had a great conversation with him a couple of weeks ago, by the way. He's awesome.
As you're walking around town.
Right? Yeah, well, it's back pre-COVID when I was walking to the Y, and I chatted with him. We got to get him on the show. He's a fascinating guy. But anyway, they had a table, an old wooden table they were hanging around, and somebody took it. And so somebody posted on the community page, and now there's like 2 new tables showed up pretty much overnight. Yeah. I
just drove by because I was coming back from some shopping, and it's not just a table; it's a big table, and it has an umbrella.
Yeah.
So they have like a patio table with an umbrella for them. So good for them. So cool. It's actually happy for them to have that, because there are a number of people that do go over there and
they're always
socialize. It's such a nice thing to see, and they also will sometimes go over to the front corner of the Beebe Estate across the street.
Yeah, it's right across.
There's some chairs over there as well. So it's nice that they do kind of spend time over there.
But it was just great. Like if you see the post on the community page, it's like immediately several people are like, I got a table, I got a table, I got a table. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know if 12 hours had passed and
See?
the community is just like, bam.
Melrose kindness. This is what the kindness ladies were telling us that we are capable of here in Melrose. It's proof. That's proof right there.
Right.
Awesome. That's really awesome. I wonder if they know about this. We'll have to ask them.
Well,
Sure they do. They keep tabs on every kind thing everyone does in this town.
I think their kindness radar was going off on
yeah, totally. That is super cool. I always felt like that should be a prime location for a parklet. Like put the parklet where the people are. Like they deserve.
Well, that's kind of like those are the OGs of the parklet.
I know. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Give them some parklet infrastructure. But it sounds like that's already happened. So
yes. Cool. Yeah. So it's very good.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Tomcat, I'm glad to see you back on your feet. Welcome back, and welcome back, team. We've been gone for a lot of August. We've been busy.
Yeah. A couple of weeks off and travel and things. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Good to be back.
Yep.
All right. It's good to be back.
All right. All right, everybody.
See you around town.